of Nigeria. Dignitaries waiting on the tarmac, waiting to receive that body and pay their last respects to the late President I beg your pardon, late President Muhammadu Buhari. So many presidents have been mentioning at the same time, especially since they're at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport, who was also a former president of Nigeria. But dignitaries right there on the tarmac, on the visuals that you can see. Any moment from now, the ceremonies will commence, and myself and Shehu will have to be quiet for a moment to let you take in all that is happening at the airport, because it will happen. A lot of the state activities will be happening right there at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport.
I mean, indeed, a momentous occasion in the life of our nation. The passing of one of Nigeria's longest-serving leader, Muhammadu Buhari, born in his hometown of Daura, Katsina State. And, of course, this man served in the Nigerian military, became a military ruler, and was ousted in a military coup in 1983. 85 rather, yeah. By the then military leader Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, and went on after the return to democracy, tried to becoming president. 3 times he failed, and on the 4th time he won the election after trying 3 times without luck. In 2015, not only that he was lucky, but also that he defeated an incumbent, which is a rare feat in African or Nigerian politics for years. Now, we can see the arrival right there of family members of the Buhari family who arrived alighting from the Nigerian Air Force aircraft. This is the one that was taken to bring the body back home. And of course, lots of people, loads of people right there receiving. Interestingly, this airport is named after another son of Katsina, who died in office in 2010. Late Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who then was afterwards his vice president Goodluck Jonathan took over and went ahead to win an election in 2011, served, and re-election was when another son of Katsina now defeated him and became president for 8 years. Is the predecessor to the sitting president Bola Tinubu, of the same political party, a party that we emerged in 2013 in a merger that culminated into final announcement in 2014, ran for election and won the election in 2015, and the same party has now won election 3 consecutive times.
Well, Sharon, the late president clearly was a picture, a lesson in resilience, never giving up. And the fact that you continue to, highlight that, the fact that he ran 4 times, only clinching office at the 4th attempt, which is many more than a lot of people who would have tried. But clearly, there's any lesson that he's left to us is that he was a real Nigerian in every sense of the word, because if there's anything Nigerians are known for, it is their resilience, isn't it, Mr. Konde?
And their persistence, and clearly it's also a very strong lesson in the power of collaboration, and partnership. The only way it was possible in 2015 was to have that handshake across the Niger between Buhari, who had those captive votes in the north, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu, whose party was controlling 6 states in the southwest. And eventually, as we remember, some other new PDP parties, governors also joined. So it's the lesson of collaboration. It just shows that whenever we are united in this country, we can get a lot of things done.
When our cameras trained on that Nigerian Air Force jet that has just landed. It landed at 1:59 p.m. local time at the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport, bearing the body of late President Muhammadu Buhari. Any moment now, we should be seeing that body being brought out of the aircraft. But what we are seeing, highlighting from the aircraft, people who traveled on the Nigerian delegation to bring home that body, members of the family and other Nigerians, other very important dignitaries who are currently coming down the aircraft. We can see right there amongst them. I'm trying my best to look very clearly so Sheun doesn't accuse me, but if my eyes serve me well, I would say that that is Oluremi Tinubu welcoming and comforting the widow of the late president. Aisha Buhari seems to be the one in the middle right there. In mourning, in deep mourning, you can see she's covered, perhaps in respect for her husband, and also in the right. She's flanked also by other family members. But right beside her is Nigeria's First Lady, Oluremi Tinubu. You can also see other mourners right behind them, some of them dabbing at their eyes to tell you the solemnity, the solemn occasion of this particular historic moment we're witnessing. We can see other people climbing up that plane, perhaps to go and retrieve the body. And what we can see are Nigeria's military, members of the Nigerian military service.
The body perhaps will be in the
cargo slot.
In the cargo slot.
Indeed.
We don't know.
In the cargo hold of the plane.
We don't know. We don't know what might be, because it's also a presidential jet. There could have been some arrangement, because don't forget that there's a portion of that jet where it's reserved for the president, a cabin inside the plane. You could put it there, as a mark of honor. But hey, it could also be in the cargo. But I don't also assume that it could be in the cargo.
Yeah, well, we see them going into the jet. If it were in the cargo hold, we should be seeing them at the bottom of the jet, where it is that they would bring out the body
just
from.
Just imagining, logistically speaking, whether or not the body will fit in that posture, and how easy is it to carry such from the passenger
exit. Because apparently seeing all those uniform people going in there will suggest
that's the task.
Yeah, or something there's a space that the body can fit in the cabin. There's a presidential small suite right there, where it can sit there. But we're going to find out what's happening here.
Yeah. So this is a final presidential flight of President Muhammadu Buhari. Has touched base back home where he started his journey of life.
Yeah, and I don't think we've had anything of this experience, even when President Yar'Adua died. I'm not sure that we had this elaborate, show of. So we don't know what to compare it with, because I don't imagine how they're going to go in there and be able to do the military steps with those stairways. It looks rather tight.
Yeah, it looks difficult.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering
but
the
crowd
control and absolutely. Don't forget this. If you look at almost everyone on that tarmac, they are important dignitaries, eminent Nigerians as much as. And this is I remember covering the burial rites of the former president who died in office, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, in office. He was a chaotic scene, albeit the kind of mood the nation was in. And I could remember the pictures that came out of the presidential villa that year. And you could see the people, the mourners, those family members who were arriving when the word came out that the president had died in office. So this is a bit different, though, because he didn't die in office. And he's way older. And, of course, the only difference that we will see, or what is similar, is that there are two sons of Katsina, and they're going to be buried in Katsina. But for a moment, the 82-year-old former president, Muhammadu Buhari, has traveled his last, and his body being conveyed in an aircraft. He traveled for several years and done his last flight and touched down on the tarmac for the very last time, onward journey to his final resting place in Daura, his place of birth, is indeed very, very instructive. The circle of life, Wole Soyinka has described it. Well, you go back to how you literally come from as a human being. One more time, this respect will be given to him. A place of his origin is going to be his place of final commitment to Mother Earth.
Yeah. I think it's quite a challenge for the uniform men because I don't think they've ever had any kind of rehearsal.
It will be a tough one. Lalu, this, like I said, I mean, you have, the president was a 6-footer. So that body, and trying to get it out from the passenger exit point is going to be a logistic and technical nightmare for them, I imagine.
And if they got it in, they'll get it out.
They'll get it, of course. I imagine so.
If they got it in, they'll get it out, and they'll get it out in as much a dignified way as they possibly can manage.
Yeah, I don't think in London they had all of this focus. You get, you know, I mean, possibly the Nigerian military weren't even in London. I don't imagine they had the kind of personnel here in Abuja as they would do in London. But certainly this is quite unprecedented because, you know, they are trying to give the man the military honors. That's why you see all those naval officers and those uniformed men, you know, try to do their military steps, you know, out of the aircraft with his body. And it's going to be quite a bit of a scene to see.
To imagine that the president, Muhammadu Buhari, has been out of public eyes for since April. Now, I mean, in fact, in Nigeria, we understand that he traveled for the medical attention in April this year, and April, May, June, and now July, he died. And so it's been, you heard what the former military leader said, Abdul Salami Abubakar, who said they were admitted into the same hospital for medical attention, and now he got out, but the former president didn't. Now, what we're saying now, pictures, live pictures, of course, right on the tarmac of the Yorodua International Airport in Katsina.
You can imagine what is going on inside the aircraft.
I can imagine. I can imagine. And it's going to be who we carry, who is not to touch, who to touch. And it's a battle between who owns this body.
There's no dispute.
No. So
there's no dispute.
So get me right. What I mean is that Buhari is now, for a lot of people, he has so many parts. The military, the Nigerian state, the Katsina authorities, the federal government, the family. So it's going to be a role that a lot of people would like to play. So that I say it's a battle because everyone wants to have their own feel of action. Don't forget, you were the one who reminded us how everyone wants to have a feel of the late Yaradua.
But at this point, we did say that the body is the property of the Nigerian government.
And
at this point, he's coming out now. So here we see live pictures of the body of late President Buhari, Muhammadu Buhari, being conveyed down that Nigerian Air Force aircraft. It wasn't in the cargo hold, it was in the cabin of that Nigerian Air Force aircraft, and is being brought down, draped in the Nigerian flag by officials of the Nigerian military. It's been brought down very solemnly, very respectfully, very dignified, in the most dignified manner, down the stairwell of this aircraft to the waiting reception of dignitaries on the ground. Amongst them is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who arrived moments earlier, just in time to receive the body of the late president. These are live pictures coming to you from the Umaru Musa Yar'Adua Airport in Katsina State.
I think it's good to point out at this point that it's a thing of dignity that they put the body inside the cabin, not in the cargo hold. That's
also one of the things that for those who, I remember when the former governor of Ondo State died, and transporting bodies, usually the size of the aircraft will determine. So some aircraft we cannot take bodies within the passenger sitting area.
Now we can see, who can we see there? Sean, sorry to interrupt you, but I think we can see some dignitaries already leaving that, leaving the foot of the aircraft, perhaps approaching towards where President...
Imagine that the Governor Diko
Rada would have been at the foot of the aircraft, but clearly they will be approaching or going straight now to meet President...
members of the Presidential Special Committee for the burial of the former president.
And that would mean that the body has been deposited in the car.
In the vehicle.
Yeah.
And they're making their way to where the official ceremonies will take place, because we know that that flag, there's the military farewell that would take place for the body paying their last respects. We know that that flag that was draped over the coffin will have to be folded very carefully and given to the Buhari family as a mark of gratitude for the life of service that President Muhammadu Buhari, give to this country, both as military head of state and also as one of the civilian president elected. You can see the military chiefs are there. You can see Oluyede, who's the chief of army staff. I believe that also the General C.J. Musa will also be the chief of defense staff. But we could see very clearly by his build. I'm trying to make out people by the build. We can see, yes, that the bottom of the aircraft is gently being declustered. People seem to be making their way to where the final rites will be taking place. The military farewell will be given to the military respects being paid to the body of late President Muhammadu Buhari.
Muhammadu Buhari, a soldier, a statesman, a symbol, in every sense, a leader that can never be undermined in our political history. The man who commanded a minimum of 12 million votes in different elections, who went on to increase that margin to 15 million, 15.5 in the first draw, being president, 15.3 in the return. Born 17 December 1942 in his hometown of Dara, Katsina State. He was military head of state in 1983 to 1985 after overthrowing the Shigari's civilian government. He was democratically elected president in 2015 and again got a re-election in 2019. And he said anti-corruption, security, and infrastructure development were going to be his major focus as a president. He died in London clinic on Sunday, and now his body has been brought right back into his hometown, his home state of Katsina. And President Bola Tinubu, who is leading the charge in the final burial rites for him, and the federal government, led by him, has declared a public holiday today, and since declared a 7-day mourning, and Nigerian flags to be flown at half-staff. Through this period of mourning, the state government in Katsina, the traditional rulers, the Buhari family, the Nigerian government of all set into mourning and to give the last respect to the man who is the second longest serving leader in Nigeria's modern political history.
So we had seen earlier pictures of a cluttering around that Nigerian Air Force aircraft, but it does appear that that crowd is now moving to the foot of the aircraft, which brought in President Tinubu earlier. It's unclear how that is going to proceed, but we can see the red carpet laid out.
The body has now been brought for military farewell, taken out of the aircraft. Now, what we're going to be seeing right now is the sort of farewell, the sort of honor a military general gets, a military leader gets, and very unique, not only for a military leader, but also for a leader of the nation. someone who is commanded the Nigerian military, someone who was also the commander on the ground as a soldier. So you see that.
You can see the body.
Yes.
Yes.
Wrapped in the Nigerian colors.